Hey, it's Nate from Navigator Bookkeeping, and I wanted to talk to you today about a private practice workflow for filing 1099s. Now, we've done another video about 1099s, so you can watch that one if you want to just kind of learn about 1099s, what they are, kind of what you need to do with them. But here we're going to talk about an actual workflow for filing them, okay, which is oftentimes a very stressful thing to start thinking about in January. Um, I'd say it's one of the most stressful things for a lot of owners because it kind of sneaks up on you, and all of a sudden you're reaching out to your accountant, your bookkeeper, and you're like, "Hey, are you doing this? Am I doing this? What's happening?" And no one's sure. So really, my first step is before you get to January, figure out who's doing this. Oftentimes, your accountant or your bookkeeper will be doing this for you already. It's maybe part of the fee that you're paying them. But always good to confirm that. And if they're not, you can always reach out and ask them if they are. But let's just say they're not, and they're not going to do this for you, or you don't have someone who's doing it for you. So let's talk about this workflow then. So I'm going to first assume that you're in QuickBooks because it's the most common accounting software, right? So we're in QuickBooks Online here, and we're just going to talk through a workflow you can use for filing 1099s. Now, the first thing you're going to do throughout the year, hopefully, is that as you're paying contractors, anyone you pay over $600 through the year through a method like checks or cash or ACH, hopefully you're going to get a W-9 from them, and that W-9 is going to tell you whether you need to give them a 1099. So what you can do when you get that W-9 from someone is you can go into your vendor page here, and you can click on any of these vendors. Let's look at this one because this one already is going to work for us here. And this is just a sample company, by the way. I'm not showing you anyone's information, so don't worry about that if you were. But we're going to go into the vendor. So let's say, okay, you have this vendor, you've paid them. Looks like they've gotten paid $2,000 once, plus we have another bill for $241. So they're over the benchmark for 1099. This is great. And what you can do is you can click edit on them. And then down here, if you scroll down, you'll find this box that says track payments for 1099. And you can also put in their business ID or social security number. So when you get that W-9 from your vendor, you're going to go in here to QuickBooks and you're just going to enter that information into the vendor right away. Okay. And what this is going to do for you is this is going to start tracking all the information for that person inside of QuickBooks. Okay. And then the beautiful part of that is as you finish the year, as you go through the year and those payments are getting tracked in QuickBooks, you have to make sure all the payments are, classified to the correct vendor. That's basic bookkeeping, but very important. Once the year's finished, you're ready to do 1099. So you're going to go down here to taxes and you go to 1099 filings. Now your screen might look a little bit different on the left side. QuickBooks has a lot of different formatting for different types of customers. So my view might look different than yours. But you'll still find the same buttons. They just might be in slightly different places. So you can go in here in 1099 filings. And you say, let's get started. And you can enter in your information here. Now, this is a sample company, so this is not real information. So it's not going to let me go through the full process. But basically, you can just click through here. And in accounts, you're going to click which accounts you want to track for. So that would be probably, you'd say something like contractors. One really important thing to find here is to make sure that you know where all your contractors are classified in QuickBooks. Like this vendor that we were just looking at, I think was under insurance. So if you didn't click insurance, it would not show up in your 1099. So you got to be really careful about that. But anyways, you're going to click that, make sure everyone's included. It's going to give you all the information, and you're going to be able to review and file just right here in QuickBooks. It's super simple, all really straightforward. So that's one way you can do a 1099 workflow. Okay. You track everything in QuickBooks, you file everything in QuickBooks. Very easy. It's actually pretty cheap. It's a couple dollars per 1099. So that's probably the best way to do it, I would say. The only downside is if you aren't using QuickBooks for any payroll, there may be issues where you have to, QuickBooks may not allow you to file the 1099s depending on the subscription. Okay. So if that happens, I'm going to tell you another way you can do it. Same thing. First of all, you want to collect W-9s from everyone throughout the whole year. Keep track of those, put them in a special folder so you can find all of them at the end of the year, probably just in a Google Drive folder. And then when the year finishes up, you want to make basically a spreadsheet. And again, this is a second option that you can use. You're going to make a spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet is going to have listed on it the contractor, their address, their EIN number or social security number, email address, basically all the information from their W-9. As well as the amount that they were paid. And you're going to pull all that information from QuickBooks. Now you can see why this is a second option because this is going to take a little more manual work. Now, most private practices are not going to have tons of contractors. If you pay your therapist as contractors, If you're using a payroll software, the payroll software probably can do the 1099 for them. Like if you're using a Gusto, for example, Gusto will just do those 1099s for you, as long as you check a couple boxes. But outside of kind of your therapist, you probably won't have too many other contractors, maybe under 10 in a year. But I don't know your business. Maybe you have more. Who knows? So anyways, you're going to make a spreadsheet. It'll probably take you a little bit. If you have a bookkeeper accountant, they can help you with this part as well. But once that spreadsheet's done, you can use an external software to file those 1099s. Now, one that I'll show you is called tax1099.com. I do like this one. It's a little more expensive than filing through QuickBooks, but it's pretty simple. So basically, when you come in here, they'll give you a sample spreadsheet to use. So I'll show you that. I'll download it here. They're going to give you a sample spreadsheet to use to fill out all of your information. Now, hopefully you can see this spreadsheet, but if you can't, it's fine. It's not a big deal. Basically, it just has all the information up here. It has way too much information in the top row about all the information that you need to include, but it's basically just going to show your EIN number, the EIN or social security number of the person you're filing for, as well as all their other basic information. What you're going to do once that spreadsheet's filled out is you're just going to upload it into this CSV uploader, and then it's going to include all the information in there for you, which is great. Once that's uploaded in there, it's going to go through the filing process for you and make sure all the 1099s get mailed and or emailed to all of your contractors. So this is the second method, basically keeping a spreadsheet of everyone's information, updating it, and then using an external software like this to send the 1099s. So it's not a bad way. I've done that for many clients. It probably takes, on average 5 to 10 minutes per vendor. So per contractor. So if you have 10 contractors, still not going to take you a ton of time, maybe an hour, hour and a half. So anyways, 2 systems. QuickBooks is definitely more automated, but if for some reason you can't do the QuickBooks version, using something like 1099.com, there's many other softwares that do this as well. It's just the one that I've used will work as well. And like I said, your payroll software hopefully will also do this for you for anyone who is being paid through payroll, like a therapist who's a 1099. So those are 2 systems for you, 2 processes. Either one is fine. The important thing is that you do this and you get started on it early. So make sure to start this process as soon as you can. Make sure to track the information throughout the year as far as getting W-9s from everyone, and then that will make January a much less stressful 1099 time for you. If you have any questions, leave a comment below the video, and we'll see you in the next one.